Okay, so 13.1, we're gonna talk about angle relationships. This is pretty simple. We're gonna talk about complementary and supplementary angles. Have you guys ever looked into complementary and supplementary angles? Do you know what complementary and supplementary angles are? Okay. Complementary angles are when the sum of the measures of the angles equal 90 degrees. Okay? So when two angles add to be 90 degrees, they are complementary to each other. So if this is angle 1 and this is angle 2, and they tell us this stands for the measure of angle 1 equals 42 degrees, measure of angle 2 equals 48 degrees. If I add the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2, I get 90. So I would do 42 plus 48, which would give me 90. So two angles are complementary if their sum adds to be 90 degrees. Supplementary angles is when the sum of two angles measures equal 180 degrees. So if I have angle 3 and angle 4 here, and the measure of angle 3 is 125 degrees, and the measure of angle 4 is 55 degrees, if I add the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 4, I'm going to get 180 degrees, because 125 plus 55 gives me 180. Therefore, they are supplementary to each other. Okay? Complementary equals 90, supplementary equals 180. You need to know those terms. Complementary starts with a C. It's higher up in the alphabet, like earlier in the alphabet, so it's a smaller number, 90. Supplementary is lower in the alphabet, so it's a larger number, 180. Okay? So then you're going to have to identify those things, or you're going to have to solve for different angles. Here it wants us to identify all pairs of complementary angles and supplementary angles in the quadrilateral ABCD. So what would be some complementary angles in this quadrilateral?
A and D.
You think angle A and angle D?
Yeah.
Okay, so angle A is 60, angle D is 30, 60 plus 30 is?
90.
So angle A plus angle D equals 90, okay. Angle A and angle D, are there any others where you add them and they get 90? No, because everything else, 120, 150 are already over 90, so I can't even do that. Supplementary,
A and B, and then
C and D.
okay, you think A and B, so the measure of angle A, which is 60, plus the measure of angle B, which is 120, right? Gives me 180. Okay, good. And then what else did you tell me?
C and D.
C and D, good. So the measure of angle C plus the measure of angle D equals 180. Okay, you can just list them, these two, and like that, if you want to. Okay. So that's how I tell if they're complementary, supplementary. I'll have to identify them. If they told me, let's say they told me that angle C and angle D are supplementary to each other, and they only tell me angle D is 30, and they want you to find angle C, what would you do?
180 minus
Yeah.
30.
180 minus 30, and I could get what angle C is. So you can work it backwards too, okay? Okay, stage monitors are speakers that performers use so that they can clearly hear the sound that they make on the stage. For the stage monitor shown, angle 1 and angle 2 are complementary angles, and the measure of angle 1 is 35. Find the measure of angle 2. What does that mean I have to set up? Yes.
Can you repeat that? My fault.
Okay, it says, I want to know what type of equation I need to set up when angle 1 and angle 2 are complementary, and we know the measure of angle 1 is 35, and we want to find the measure of angle 2.
You subtract 90 by 30.
You would do
What?
90 minus 30.
Okay. Yes, but I want to set up a full equation first.
35 plus angle 2.
So I don't want to do 90 minus 35. I want you to actually show me all the steps. What part?
35 plus x equals 90.
Okay, we can do it that way. I'm going to say the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 90 degrees. I'm going to substitute 35 in for this. And then from there, I can show that I'm subtracting. and I have the measure of angle 2 equals, what's 90 minus 35?
90 minus 35?
55.
I knew that.
Now, here's the reason why I want you to show it to me this way. When you get into my geometry class later in life, you have to show it that way, and you have to tell me what steps are happening, because they're called proofs, and those are the simplest form of them. I need you to get into practice of it, so that later on it's simple, okay? So we set it up as the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 90, because it told me they were complementary. Then I substitute 35 in for whatever angle it was, which in this case it was angle 1. So I have 35 plus measure of angle 2 equals 90, then I show that I subtract it, and I get what the measure of angle 2 is. I need work shown. You don't have work shown, you don't get points. Okay? No plugging that into your calculator. Show me your work. The last term we need to talk about today are vertical angles, okay? When you have two lines that intersect, they create things called vertical angles, okay? Angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles. Angle 2 and angle 4 are vertical angles. So it's the angles opposite of each other, okay? And they make, the reason I know they're vertical is because to me this makes a V right here. Boom. When they cross, right, I have V's, 1, 2, 3, 4 V's. That's how I know they're vertical. So vertical angles are across from each other, okay? They also have the same measure. So angle 1 and angle 3 are equal to each other. Angle 2 and angle 4 are equal to each other. That being said, if I know one of these, I can figure out all the other 3 angles. Yes?
For the vertical angle, would it equal 180 or 90?
No, not necessarily. Neither of those is correct. Here's what happens though. 180 degrees is what type of angle?
Supplementary.
They're straight.
It's a straight line, right? So look at this. What do these two angles add up to equal?
180.
180, okay? What do these two angles add up to equal? 180. What about these two?
180.
And these two?
180.
That's why if I know one of them, I can find all of the others. Okay? Because if I know what angle 1 is, I know what angle 3 is because they're the same. I know that 1 and 2 are supplementary to each other. They add to be 180. So I can take 180, subtract 1 from it, find 2. And I know that 2 and 3 are the same. Okay? So that's why I can start to solve. So over here, it says for the TV tray shown, the measure of angle 1 is 110 degrees. Find the measure of angle 2, 3, 4. Okay. So if this is 110 degrees, right? Well, let's start with the easiest one. What would be the easiest one to know?
3.
Okay, what's angle 3?
Same thing, 110.
So the measure of angle 3 equals 110 degrees. What does the measure of angle 2 equal?
What'd you do?
Why 70?
Because you would have to, since it equals 180, you have to minus 70
Yep.
from it.
Because I know that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180. They're supplementary to each other, which means I plug 110 in here, and I get this, and I subtract 110 from both sides, and then I get the measure of angle 2 equals 70. So the measure of angle 2 is 70, making the measure of angle 4 what?
70.
70.
So for, like how we got the angles, do we have to write it down, or can we just like,
On this one,
yeah, like you bet to show our work how we got it?
yep, show me your work.
Okay.
Clearly, you show no work on figuring out what angle 3 is because they're congruent to each other, they're equal. Do you have any questions over complementary, supplementary, or vertical angles? It shouldn't be that bad, okay? But just show me work, please.